All right, in order to find the absolute extrema, we need to first find our critical points. And so we're going to use, we need to find the first derivative. Now, this is going to require quotient rule. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up here. So we're going to need to find f, which is the numerator, 1 minus x, and then g, which is the denominator, is 3 plus x, and their first derivative. So f prime here is going to be negative 1, and then g prime here is going to be positive 1. And then when we do these, we're going to multiply the ones that are across from each other and then subtract the results. So here I'm going to do first f prime and then times g, and then minus g prime, which is 1, times f, which is 1 minus x. And then all of that is going to be over g squared. So this is what f prime is. Now I'm going to go ahead and use distributive property to simplify. So I'm going to get negative 3 minus 1x minus 1 plus 1x over 3 plus x quantity squared. You can see that these ones here are going to cancel. So my final answer for the first derivative is going to be negative 4 over 3 plus x quantity squared. Okay, so our critical points are going to occur either when the numerator is equal to 0 or when the denominator is equal to 0, which would make the expression invalid. So you can see right here that the critical point would happen when 3 plus x is equal to 0, which is when x is equal to negative 3. But we don't need to consider that because that number is not in our domain. So we just need to evaluate our values on where x is equal to 0 and x is equal to 3, so at the endpoints. So here I'm going to do f prime of 0 is equal to 1 minus 0, and then 3 plus 0, so I'm just replacing the x's with 0. So that's going to give me 1 minus 0 is 1, and 3 plus 0 is 3. So there's that point. And then f of my other endpoint here is 3. So I'm going to do 1 minus x is now 3, and then 3 plus x is now 3. And I'm going to get 1 minus 3 is negative 2, and then 3 plus 3 is 6. And I can reduce this fraction to negative 1/3. So you can see that this number is the biggest number between these. So this is going to be our absolute max on this interval. And then this one right here is smaller, so it's going to be our absolute minimum. So whenever you're trying to find the absolute extrema, you first need to figure out if there's any critical points that you need to consider. And then you always consider also the endpoints of your domain.